why don't you share a little bit about just your experience, just where you're at, give us a brief intro, and then let's just jump into this COVID-19 that has so many school districts and schools and principals and leaders and teachers just having to adapt really quickly and move fast to ensure that all of our kids are first and foremost safe, and second, that they're learning. So you're on.
Yeah, well, good morning again, everybody. Noemi, thank you so much for having me join you. I've definitely been enjoying the live ed chats myself, so glad to jump on here and just chat with you a little bit this morning. So like you said, I'm in Houston, Texas. I'm at KIPP 3D Academy, and last week, we were actually on spring break. So as we were getting ready to head into spring break, we learned very quickly that things were going to be changing for us after the fact. And we had to basically pivot to becoming online educators. Because when we sent our kids home, we were still supposed to come back this week. And then the next day it became, okay, we're going to be out of school for 1 week. And then it was 2 weeks. And then it was, we're going to be back in mid-April. And even now that's up in the air. So
yeah,
it's been a lot trying to
agree with that too. Like, yep,
yeah,
same thing, and
yep.
maybe mid-April, maybe not. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it seemed like it all happened overnight. So this has been our first week back as a staff virtually. And so some of the things that we've been doing is, one, obviously just connecting with our kids to make sure that they're doing okay. So we've been communicating with them. We've made phone calls to every single student, and we're still continuing to reach out to those that we haven't yet heard from. We've been texting, sending emails, updating our Facebook and our Instagram pages. And we actually have been using ClassTag as a means of communicating with families
Okay.
here. And so the reason that we use that.
Quick question, is ClassTag like an app, or, because I'm not familiar, some people, is anyone out there familiar with ClassTag?
Yeah, so ClassTag is an app that allows you to communicate with a bunch of people at one time. And the reason we chose ClassTag is because you get to choose how you receive your communication. So if you're a person who wants to receive it through text, it will text the message to you.
Oh, wow.
Emails, it will email it to you, and it will also translate the message. So
that's amazing. So that really
great.
Each parent their own style and language. That's pretty awesome. We have someone here that said Virginia schools are closed to the remainder of the year.
Oh my God.
South Carolina schools are closed until April 30th. So
wow. Yeah. So ever changing.
Yes, it is.
So through communicating with our families, one of the things that we had to do was quickly assess their tech needs. Because as I said, us having to pivot to online education, we're not a campus that currently is one-on-one. So we don't have, Chromebook for every student.
Yeah.
And then that obviously decreases when they go home. We have fewer students that have access to that technology. So just, gaining that information has been helpful.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. We're still good?
Yeah. So in Atlanta, I know that the governor is working, sorry about that, y'all, is working on, still on the decision for schools. But you were saying?
Yeah, so one of the challenges that we've come across is that technology piece. But we are fortunate to have our IT and our operations team have been working tirelessly around the clock to inventory the technology that we do have on campuses. And they're setting up safe and responsible way for parents to sign up to come and retrieve technology so kids can use it at home. So that's what we've been doing as far as, reaching out to our kids and making sure that they have what they need.
So let me just comment on that really quick, because I know that there are some schools out there who are doing something similar. Where whatever technology they have, you said parents, the school is releasing them out to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other schools that are doing that where, some of your families are coming to the school to actually pick up technology? I know that some folks were doing that, and even going to pick up, like yesterday I spoke to a teacher who's like, oh, our school principal is allowing our team to go to school to pick up our doc cams and stuff like that. So, don't have anyone weighing in on that. So let's continue.
Cool. So then as far as the instructional side, what we've been doing on campus this week, we decided to use Google Classrooms as our platform for online learning because we have already been using Google. So it was an easy transition for us. And so we actually did a staff professional learning development on how to effectively use Google Classroom via Zoom on Tuesday with our staff members. And then from there, we broke into content teams and talked about, okay, now that we know how to use it, what is this going to look like in the reading classrooms? What is this going to look like in our math classrooms? So just been using Zoom to help us to continue to plan out what our lessons are going to look like, because we're going to start going live with those lessons next week.
And when you say, really quick, when you say live, because I see here, Brenna Daniels, one of the school principals, I think she said she was in Tennessee, they use Schoology and have been using IG Live. There's some families without tech will be a pickup day. Okay, no tech loans to students as of yet. So when you say go live with students, is that like live on Google Classroom? Is it on IG Live? What form, or how are you guys planning that out?
Yeah, so our plan is to go live with the Google Classroom. So this week has really just been us setting it up, calling kids and making sure that they are able to access that platform. And then next week, we'll actually start rolling out our curriculum through Google Classrooms.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are some of the things that we've been doing so far this week, just to kind of get our teachers ready and acclimated for this new experience that we're all getting ready to engage in. I'll say one thing that we've been telling our teachers is just have grace with yourself and have grace with your students. A lot of people, we have some teachers who have never done online learning like this before, and it can be scary. So just, give yourself time. We're going to get through it together. Same thing with our kids. We're going to continue to get that technology out as soon as we can in order to make sure that we're still having equitable practices happening with our learners.
Yeah, I've been there's been quite a few teachers that I've heard from, and I think what is really most first and foremost critical is that while we get that we're trying to teach, we want to get it right for our kids, right? Like we're not trying to throw stuff together randomly to give to kids. And so I think that both leaders and teachers take that to the heart.
Absolutely.
But the first and so in the pursuit of doing that, what happens is leaders, we sometimes, and in a lot of schools, we're forgetting that grace first. Like, remember that our staff and our teachers they need time to figure out stuff with their own family and with their
absolutely.
Like, how are they going to adjust if they have their own kids at home and they have to cook, breakfast, lunch, and dinner and teach kids online, right?
Absolutely.
And then also having to be responsible for reaching out to the families and seeing which kids have tech, which kids don't. And
absolutely.
It's a really stressful time for both leaders and teachers. And I love what you just elevated around ensuring that and communicating that to our teachers, like, have grace with yourself first. And it's not just about saying it, it's also about taking action. So what are we doing?
Yeah.
To give teachers grace first, is it we're saying, hey, we want you to take this amount of time for personal stuff and not log in after this time. I see some folks agreeing to that and saying exactly, absolutely, amen. So that's really resonating with a lot of people.
Yeah. So one of the ways that we're working with our teachers to do that is we have them submitting their classwork by 9:00 on Mondays to the Google Classroom, giving students until Thursday to complete those assignments. And then we're also implementing office hours. So we want teachers, again, we know that they're taking care of families. So sitting in front of a computer teaching live to kids for 6 hours is not feasible. And so what we're doing is having them craft out 1 hour of office hour time where kids are able to check in and say, hey, can I get some help with this work? Or just literally to say hi. They miss us. They miss being with us. We're a family. And so having, I think, a structured time like that has been helpful for our teachers to balance out their personal lives while still making sure that they're showing up for our kids academically.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's so awesome. You also shared something that I think would be super helpful for our educators out there to know. So your staff returned from spring break this week.
Yes.
And, they did something around culture, which was a small way to really add a J factor. Y'all want to hear that? You guys want to hear that? They had a really cool way. So why don't you share that with everyone?
Yeah. So we are really big on culture at our school. I believe wholeheartedly in having a positive staff morale. And so we decided to implement a spirit week this week for our staff. So each day we have to do something different. So for instance, yesterday was our Christmas in March day. And so we all dressed up in our Christmas gear. Some people actually brought the Christmas trees out, and we took pictures and sent that in our group message app as a way to just continue to share that joy with each other. And it resonated with so many of our teachers. We actually had one teacher whom hadn't had his phone all day. And then when he got it, he said he saw all these messages and he's like, I didn't know what was going on. He was like, and then when I realized it, it made him feel so good because he was feeling down that day. But then just to see that we're continuing to like pour that love and joy in was really awesome to see. So I really recommend that.
Yeah, that is awesome. So while you all, some people they like that. So while we're at it, if any of you are also doing things to increase the factor for your teachers, for your staff, please, just share that. Natasha, again, just shared how a couple of things that they're doing for JFAC, having a spirit week virtually for their teams. And I've actually heard not even just in education, but some other teams in corporate and healthcare also doing things like that as well. So I think that's pretty cool.
That's awesome. They're thinking about doing one with for our students also. So like maybe on Fridays we do like a whole staff spirit day. So definitely in these times it's important to make sure that like you try to find those moments where you can pour joy into people because these are stressful times for everybody.
Yeah. Thank you for highlighting that and elevating.
Yeah.
So if we, Tasha, if you had to just kind of give, just some pieces of advice, and you've already started to do that, like if you could leave us with like 3 pieces of advice, maybe for leaders, for teachers, for parents, anything that learned lessons, anything that you're all seeing that you'd like to just leave us with.
Yeah, I definitely would say for school administrators to just continue to keep those lines of communication open. I communicate, and then communicate one more time if you need to. In these times of uncertainty, it is very helpful for people to have any sort of concrete information being given to them. So continue to update your social media sites. We send out weekly tips to our parents. We have counselor corners on our website, so parents can reach out and gain some mental and wellness tips that they can be using at home with students. So I would probably say to continue to do those things.
Someone actually also said that they use a staff care schedule as well.
Oh, nice.
That's also pretty cool because we have all that. Also, I just want to add before you go to your next 2, Kai from Philadelphia, ED out there, said Virtual Spirit Week, teachers, parents, and scholars get to join in, which is similar to what you said, doing one for your teachers, no, for your students and teachers.
Yeah.
And then it looks like Rashid from Florida, his staff will be doing Spirit Week next week. So nice. A lot of folks are kind of like building community in that way, and small wins, JFAC, those are actually big wins.
Those are big wins. Yeah.
All right. So communicate. First tip. What else?
For our teachers, I would say to continue to access the free resources that are available. Again, I know that going online is different for a lot of folks. So I know that Scholastic has an awesome learning from home curriculum. They have 2 weeks worth of online materials and lessons already planned out. So we have some teachers that are using that. Great Minds has awesome resources for reading, math, and science. So continue to use those free resources that are available to you at this time and build up that resource bank. We know in education, there's no need to reinvent the wheel. Go out there and find some good things that are happening in order to again, have that grace with yourself about not having to recreate a whole new curriculum. There's already things that are out there for you.
Oh, that's awesome. And free. Don't
spend that money. And then for our parents and our families, I would say, however you can, try to continue to incorporate structure for your students. And it doesn't have to be like the same daily schedule that they would have in school, but it can be in the mornings, we do our academic work. In 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock, you can do lunch and recess break together. In the afternoon, they can be doing activities and chores, but we know that when kids have structure, they tend to thrive. And again, this is such a scary and different time that can just that little bit of normalcy would be very helpful for them. And I think also, honestly, having conversations about COVID-19, I think about us as a middle school, our kids are astute, they know what's going on. So continue to actually talk to them about that. I think one really good resource to use for kids is CNN has a great student news program, and they're still rolling even through this time. So it's CNN 10. And they're still talking about, COVID-19 across the country, across the world. So even just sitting down for 10 minutes with your kids and watching the news and having some conversations is something that I think will help a lot of people during this time.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank
Yeah,
you so much. I love that you elevated, like, make sure that you have those conversations around COVID-19.
absolutely.
Those are going to be like restorative conversations. And I
Absolutely.
want to throw this resource out there as well. We Restore More. They
Mm,
focus on socio-emotional wellness, well-being,
yep.
specifically for schools. You all need to check them out. They currently have a free restorative kit that is around COVID-19. So it's a
Oh,
script
awesome.
of what teachers could use with their kids just to like engage in that kind of conversation. So it's called We Restore More. Make sure you check them out. They have some great resources as well.
That's great.
Natasha, thank you so much for waking up extra early. I know you're and logging into our call today. Live at chat. You all, thank you so much for joining us. Share this with your friends. Tell them about this. This is just a free resource for us to be able to engage with folks from across the country that are doing this in so many different ways. So look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Natasha, thank you again.
Thank you so much, Noemi.
Be well, everyone.